Right, so one quick thing which I forgot to mention is, of course, save this document, save what you've just done, because we're going to be using that for further development later on down the line. So if you just go to File, Save As, whatever you want to save it as, I'm going to save it to my desktop and make sure the format is Photoshop. Save, yes, okay. And we're going to be manipulating this image. And we're going to be using a similar masking technique to what we were doing in your previous tasks. For the first thing I want you to do before you do that is I want you to create a new document, and in this document is where you're going to place all of your shapes and images which you've made. Okay, so I'm just going to come to File, New, and I'm going to make that document an A3 document, and the background is going to be black. Now, like I said, I recommend you work in black and white. You can either work with this is just going to be where you're going to be storing your images anyway. It doesn't really matter. But you could be working with a white background if you want. I'm going to use a black background. Okay, and just leave that for now and come back to your other document. And to manipulate this image, what we're going to do is come over to your layers panel, select both of them, select both of your layers by holding shift, and then select control, come down to merge layers, and then merge the layers, and then we're going to duplicate this layer as well. So Command C, Command V, and then come up to your filter up here, and then we're going to come to our liquify tool. Might take a second to open, and we're going to be using only 3 of the tools on here, which are your warp tool, which is what is selected now. And as you can see, if I do that with my cursor, it's just going to warp the image. And then also our twirl tool and your bloat tool, and bloating obviously bloats areas of the image you want to bloat. Okay, so spend some time playing around with this. What you really want is you don't want it to be the image to be too distorted. You want to see some remnants of the original images. Okay, so I'm going to start with my warp tool. I'm going to bring the size down because that's ridiculous, and that's fine. And I'm just going to start to warp this image. Some of these are going to end up being quite funny, I think, anyway. Come over to bloat some of these features. So yeah, spend some time with this. Spend longer than I'm spending on it. I'm just giving you a quick example. It's quite fun to play around with this, I think. I'm happy with that for now, so I'm just going to click OK. And we're going to come to our blending options up here. And where it says normal, you're going to click this arrow and then come down to multiply. Okay. Now, if you're happy with it, continue. If not, go back and amend it to how you want it to look. But for now, I'm happy with this. and we're going to mask this image with some shapes. So I'm going to merge both these layers again. So Shift, select the layers, Control, merge layers. Come over to my polygon tool, and you can use squares. You only want to mask two. You only want two masks. So I'm going to use a triangle and an ellipse, but you can use a square if you want, or if you think that a different shape might work well, by all means use that shape. But I'm going to use a triangle and an ellipse. So how to create a triangle, make sure your polygon, well, it's going to be your square tool. So you come to your square tool, hold down, and then come to your polygon tool, and you want to make sure that sides is on 3, because triangles have 3 sides. You should know that. And I'm just going to draw a triangle. Okay, make sure if you want to move this over, come to your path selection tool, and you can just drag this over here. I'm going to hold Command T just to make this a little bit so it can fit my image. And align it to where you think, what you think, what areas you think work well. So I think I'll use this. Maybe if that turn around here. I think that's fine. So I'm going to use this as my triangle. So I'm going to hit Enter, and then come up to Layer, Vector Mask, Current Path, and there we go. Now you want to have this layer in your new document which you just made. So I'm going to just drag this out like that. There we go. And I'm just going to hold Command T and just drag that in the corner there. And I'm going to do the same thing again. So drag this back onto my Photoshop here. I'm just going to Command Z, go back, Command X to get rid of the mask you just made, and then come over to your ellipse tool. Do the same thing. So I'm holding Shift so it's a perfect circle. And I think I'm happy with that. Same thing, layer. No, sorry, why has that happened? So something wasn't. Make sure when you're doing this that your layer is actually selected. Yeah, that's why I wasn't able to mask that. So do this again. And as well, make sure path is selected and it's not shape, just like we've done before in our previous task. And then layer, vector mask, current path, and same thing, drag this into your new document, hold Shift to make sure that it doesn't distort the image. And I'm just going to place that there for now. And that's it for this task. Make sure you save this document that you're working on Save it along the line as you're doing it as well. And you can save this document as well if you must, but I don't think we're going to be using that again. Make sure that you come over to File, Save As, and I'm going to save this as Items, my desktop. Okay, and that's it for these two shapes.